Hey, kindergarten, it's Mrs. Seals back for our next science lab. And actually, this is our last science lab before Christmas break. So I will not see you guys again or have another video for you again until after we get back from the holiday break in January. So last week we started talking about weather. We're going to continue talking about weather again today. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to review these words that we talked about with weather. So your target says I can observe and describe weather changes from day to day. So hopefully you remember that weather is the condition of the atmosphere in a place for a short period of time. And remember, I told you that the atmosphere is a big layer of clouds and gases that surrounds the earth, all around the earth. So it's basically what we see as the sky. And everything that happens up there is what determines our weather down here on earth. That determines whether it's hot or cold or sunny or cloudy or windy or calm, or if we have any sort of precipitation, which we'll remind ourselves about that word in a minute. So basically, it's just what it's like outside. And remember, we talked about how when we watch a weather report or listen to a weather forecast, they don't just tell you about one thing. They don't just tell you if it's hot or cold. They tell you about lots of different parts of the weather. So let's review those. One part of the weather we talk about is cloud cover. And we have three different ways that we usually describe the amount of cloud cover. I told you that sometimes we have this very kind of gray, overcast day where the whole sky is covered in clouds. And we use this word overcast to describe that. Sometimes the sky is partly cloudy, which means we have part of the sky covered in clouds. We can also see some sun and blue sky. And then sometimes the sky is sunny or clear, like today. Today is a very clear, sunny day. I see only blue sky and sunshine, no clouds. Another part of the weather is temperature, which remember means how hot or cold the air is outside. And we describe this by using words like warm, cool, hot, or cold. And temperature is very, very important because this tells us what sorts of clothes we need to wear that day. Like today, this morning when I watched the weather report when I was getting ready for school, they said that it was only 30 degrees, which is very cold. So that told me today that I need to wear a sweater so I can stay warm all day long. I'm not wearing a t-shirt or a tank top because I would be very cold. Another part of the weather is wind, which means air that's moving. And we talked about how sometimes the air is moving very, very fast, and we call that a windy day. Other times the air is just moving a little bit, and we call that a breezy day, which is a good day to fly a kite. And other times there's no wind, and that's calm. And then this last part of the weather, which is kind of going to be our focus, well, we're going to focus on all this, but we're going to do something with precipitation in a minute. This big word is precipitation. Hopefully you remember that this means any water or ice, that falls from the clouds. Normally, when water falls from the clouds, we just get rain. That's probably the one we're the most familiar with. But other times, it's very, very cold high up in the atmosphere, and that causes the water to freeze. And in that case, we get another form of precipitation. This one right here is called sleet, which I believe I told you last week that sleet starts up high up in the clouds as frozen, like ice, because it's very, very cold. And then as it's falling down to earth, it goes through like a patch of warmer air that causes it to melt and turn back into a raindrop. But then before it hits the ground, that raindrop passes through some really cold air again and it refreezes. So you get this stuff right here, kind of looks like a slushy or an icy or something, and that's sleet. Texas usually, if we were to get any sort of winter precipitation, this is typically the kind we get here. It doesn't happen often, maybe once every year, once every couple years. And then sometimes we can also get snow, which is this one right here. Sometimes we can also get hail, which are those little balls of ice. And I told you that these are caused by warm air and cool air mixing and lots of wind. Hail starts out as a raindrop up in the clouds, and then as it's falling down to earth, a gust of wind pushes it back up into the clouds, where another layer of ice forms on it. And the windier it is, the more times that happens, and the bigger the hailstone can get. And sometimes hailstones can be as big as like a softball or a grapefruit. There have even been some, not often, but I believe one time there has been basketball size hail, which is very scary. It can cause a lot of damage to our cars and our houses, and you definitely don't want to be outside during a hailstorm. So those are all the parts of weather. We're going to do two things today. The first thing that we are going to do is the students here in class are going to complete this paper that says today's weather is. They're going to decide if it's sunny, cloudy, rainy, stormy, windy, or snowy. It may be more than one of these. Like today, it is a sunny day and it is a very windy day. It's not cloudy. It's definitely not raining or storming or snowy, but it's a sunny, windy day. And I might even add right here that it's cold. It's a cold day today. So then down here, the students are going to draw what they should be wearing on a day that's sunny and windy and cold. This might be different each day depending on what day you do this activity, because like we've been talking about, weather can change very frequently. It changes often. It can change in a matter of minutes or seconds or hours or just throughout the day. So I'm completing this on a day that's sunny and windy and cold, but maybe the day you watch this video and talk about the weather, it might be, cloudy or rainy, and maybe probably not snowing, but it could be cloudy or rainy, it could be warm, it could be storming, who knows? The weather's always changing. But it's important that we know and we watch and we listen to the weather so that way we know what it's safe to wear that day. All right, so the main activity that we're doing today, we are making fake snow. So this is a science lab tradition. If you stay at Pershing Park for first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade, this is something we always do on the last science lab before the holiday break. It's just a fun little activity. Kids really enjoy it. You get to make this fake snow and you get to keep it and take it with you. So let me talk a little bit about the fake snow first. So this is the fake snow that I use. It's called Insta-Snow powder. You can get it on Amazon. This is the best brand for this. There are Target and Walmart and dollar stores sell other types of Insta-Snow, but I have found that they don't work as well as this one. And also they kind of have a strange kind of plasticky smell to them. This one doesn't have a smell, and this one really kind of erupts and gets very big and fluffy, and it really truly looks like real snow. So it's important to understand that this is not real snow. Remember, real snow is made of ice and water droplets that freeze high up in the clouds and fall to earth. This is a powder. It's actually, let me take the little scoop out. It's actually little bitty tiny pieces, let me see if you can see it, of plastic. And what happens is when you mix this with water, the little pieces of the powder absorb the water and they expand. They get really, really big and fluffy. So it's going to look like we're only using a little tiny bit of powder, but once I mix it with the water, it's going to get big and fluffy. Okay. This is not, if you choose to order this online and do this activity at home or, with your family, please make sure this is not something you want to eat. It's plastic. We don't eat plastic. Please make sure baby brothers or sisters or pets do not eat it as well. It's not going to last forever. It's just plastic and water. So eventually it's going to kind of dry out. It might get maybe moldy if you leave it in a dark place. So, when that happens, just throw it away. It's not meant to last forever. But the good news is, if you come to science lab next year in first grade, you will get to do this again and make more. All right, so easy peasy. All we're gonna do, I have a clear cup. The powder comes with the scoop, so you know exactly how much to use. I'm gonna take 1 scoop of powder, put it in the cup. And watch carefully. I'm going to add just a tiny bit of water. And I brought a spoon, but you don't even really have to stir this. It's going to fluff up and expand without stirring it. Are you ready? Whoa, do you see that? Do you see how it's growing? It's getting bigger and bigger. It's expanding. That's because those little tiny pieces of plastic are soaking up and absorbing all the water. I might give it one little kind of, what's the word? Stir, just to make sure it's all mixed up. But now look at it. I have this cup of fake snow, and if you touch it, it even feels like snow. It feels kind of wet and fluffy, and it's not freezing cold because it's not ice. You do not have to put it in the freezer. In fact, if you do put it in the freezer, it's going to, when you take it out and play with it, it's going to be very mushy and yucky and not soft and fluffy like this. So that's just a little fun activity that I like to do in the science lab that the kids get very excited about. And since we are talking about weather, it's the perfect activity. So I hope that you guys enjoyed that. And I hope that you have a wonderful holiday break. And I will see you back in the science lab in January at the new school. Bye, guys.